Here's how to remove green screen in DaVinci Resolve, step by step. Now say I'm using this video and I want to add a green screen video. So I will drag my green screen video, I put it on top, and this is what it looks like. I have my video and then we have the green screen that comes up. I want to remove the green screen. First we go to the top left corner, I close the media pool, then I click on Effects, click on Resolve FX. Then you search for 3D. You'll see 3D here. You drag this over your green screen video. Then you go to the bottom left corner of your video, click on this arrow. Then click on Open FX Overlay. We can click on this FX logo. You can see that if I click it like that, it will be selected. So if it's highlighted when it's white, I can draw on the video to select the colors that I want to remove. So I want to remove the green, I will draw like that. You can see that the green will turn into a solid black. And when I let go of my mouse, the green screen is removed. Now there's a little bit of green around this area. So to remove it, you go to the top right corner, click on Inspector, and under Effects, you can see Open FX, 3D Keyer, and if you scroll down, under Behavior Options, you'll see Despill, and you can drag this to remove the extra green. And now this is what the video looks like. Next, let me show you a more difficult green screen video. So here we have a woman in front of an actual green screen. So to remove this, we can draw over the green, but you can see that as I draw, we are not getting a clean, solid black background. So when I let go of my mouse, there's still a lot of green that is not removed. So if I try to draw around here or here, you can see that it always has this remaining green. So here's how to fix it. First, let's go to Usage Options. Then I click on Show Paths, so you can see the lines that I'm drawing. So you can see that as I draw, every time I draw, we can only draw one stroke at any time. Now we can try to select as much green as we can if we just click and hold. And as I draw around, you can see that the green will start to turn into a solid black background, like this. And then when I let go, you can see that more of the green is removed. And if you really want to check, we can scroll down. We go to Output. We change this to Alpha Highlight, Black and White. It will turn your image into black and white. So the background should be a solid, clean black. And the subject that you want to keep should be a solid white. Now, if the background isn't a solid black, you can try to draw your lines until you get it. Otherwise, you can draw multiple lines. So if I draw like that and I try to draw here, it only lets me draw one stroke at a time. So if you want to draw multiple strokes, you can click on the plus over here. And now I can draw multiple strokes around to select all the green colors that I want to remove. Now make sure you don't draw over the subject, because if you draw over it, then it will remove the subject from your video, and this is what it looks like. Now if you make any mistakes, you can click on Reset, and then you can draw your strokes again. So the goal is we want the green background to turn into a solid black, like that. Now if you have drawn multiple lines and you're still not getting a clean, solid black background, so say for example, I get something like that, and I'm still getting a lot of gray noise, any fuzzy, grainy areas, here's what you can do. Scroll down to Key Adjustments and increase the chroma tolerance. So when you increase this, it will remove more shades of green. So I can drag this to the right, and you can see that more of the gray is removed. From here, if you're still not getting a clean, solid black background, you can scroll down, go to Matte Finesse, then under Clean Black, so you want to increase this slowly until you get a clean, solid black background. If I just increase it a little bit, I can drag from here. You can see it's now gone. Now be very careful with this. You want to increase slowly, because if I increase a lot, now the subject is being removed. and it will look like this. If I change this to Final Composite, it will start to remove the subject. So you just want to increase it a little bit until you get a clean and solid black background. What I recommend is you try to draw, and then if you need, you just add multiple strokes to get the green background to turn into a solid black. If after you have done this and you still cannot get a clean solid black background, then you try to increase chroma tolerance, and if it still doesn't work, then we increase the clean black. So this is what the video looks like. The green screen is removed and we are seeing the background behind. So this is actually the background video that's playing, and then we have the green screen video on top. Now here's the thing, you can see that actually at the sides, we need to remove these because the green screen is only in the middle. So here's where we can use garbage matte to crop the green screen video. So when I click on garbage matte, we can choose a matte shape and we can choose rectangle or ellipse. So say I go with rectangle, then we can click on invert, and then we can choose which part of the green screen video to cut out. So we can increase the width. If I drag this to the right, we can control how much of the video we want to cut out. And then we can adjust the height. And then we can move the position for X. We can move it to the left or to the right. And for Y, we can move it up or down. And if you want to reset the values to default, you can click on this reset button, and we can do the same for the width and the height. So in this example, I need to crop the top, so let me increase the height, and I can lower the width. So now this is what the video looks like. You can see that the green screen is removed, and now we just have the woman in front of our background. Next, let me show you how to smooth and trim the edges around the subject. So if I change the output to alpha highlight, then you can check that you remove the green screen properly and cleanly. So now let me zoom in to the video. So to zoom in, you move your mouse over the video, you scroll up. And as I scroll up, we can see that we are zooming in. And to move around, you drag your middle mouse. Just press down on the scroll wheel and you can drag. So here we can see actually there's still a lot of green that's not removed. We can increase the despill. So we can increase this until we don't see any more green. And if I continue zooming in, we can see there's still some black outline and it's not very smooth. So to smooth the edges, you can go to Matte Finesse. You can increase the blur radius to smooth out the edges. So I recommend you drag from this box over here because it'll be more precise. So I drag it a little bit. So now that the edges is smooth, if you want to trim the edges, then you go to in-out ratio and you decrease this. So if I drag this to the left, it's going to trim the edges. But you want to do it slowly so that you don't actually cut into the person. So I will drag from here and I will lower it until I don't get that black outline. Now here's the thing, as you lower this, then the edges won't look as smooth. So if that happens, you can increase the blur radius a little bit more to smooth out the edges. And then you adjust the in-out ratio again. And you might have to do this multiple times. Each time, just increase the blur radius by a little bit so that the edges is smooth. And then you adjust the in-out ratio until you get a clean and smooth edge. And now when I scroll down to zoom out, you can see we no longer have that black outline around the subject. So to reset the zoom, you can press Z on your keyboard or you go to the percentage here, click on this arrow, click on Fit. So now we have a very clean and smooth cutout of the subject from the green screen. So let me change this output back to Final Composite, and this is what the video looks like. We now have a very clean cutout of the subject from the green screen background. So that's how to remove green screen in DaVinci Resolve.